Welcome back to the garage. Limited Slip Racing here. We just finished removing the hood, which was a very simple operation. We traced out the hood hinges, pulled the windshield washer hose, and basically just unscrewed 4 bolts. What we're doing today is draining the radiator fluid from the radiator, the antifreeze. And really all we need to do is loosen this nut, this plastic nut. Be careful with it. It's a 19 millimeter. I've already pre-loosened it. As you can see, things are dripping. But we're just going to see if I can get my hand around here so we can do this and you can still see. Loosen this thing up until the water starts to drain. Actually, it's not water, it's antifreeze. And we're just going to let that sit there and drain for a while until she's empty, or until our bucket fills up. Well, I just lost my camera tripod, so I'm going to have to do this by hand. I got a little impatient, so I went ahead and pulled off this hose. I come down here, and I also pulled out the entire plug. As you can see, we're draining quite quickly now. We've also got a full bucket of antifreeze. Anyway, we'll let that thing drain, and I'm going to put the plug back into the radiator. Right, this morning what we're going to be doing is going to be removing this Degas tank as well as the power steering fluid reservoir. Basically, we're going to pull hoses off the tanks and pull the screws out. So first, the Degas tank. We'll just grab this with I'll try to grab this with a pair of channel locks. Pull this hose clamp off a little bit. And that's done. Got a second hose down here. Not sure we can see it. See if I can't. No, we're not going to be able to see it. Anyway, there's another hose down here that leads off, and we'll need to pull that. See if I can't get that from over here, kind of give you a better visual. Same thing though, there's another hose clamp on here. And let me get this out of the way. And this is like Saturday night, folks. Saturday Night Live. You see what you see is what you get. Would be easier if I had this thing off the jacks. I'm a little feller, so. No, it's still on there a good ways. Anyway, factory hose clamps have always been a pain to get off for me. Never did like them. Don't think I'm going to start now. There we go. Finally got a good grip on that. Just reach down in here. Hopefully this tank's empty now. If it's not, I'll have another big mess to clean up. Ah, and it is, thank goodness. Okay, now what we're going to do is work on the power steering pump reservoir. And I've got this handy dandy little transfer pump here. I've got it primed. Took about three or four pumps to get it primed. And it's pulling the juice out pretty good. It's right here now, just about 4 or 5 pumps more. Make sure she's all the way down there. And I'm pumping it into an old coffee can. The reason why I'm doing this is I made a big old mess pulling that antifreeze out the other day. So I'm going to try to get this as empty as I can. I hear a bunch of air sucking back and forth, so it's probably empty. It looks like there's more power steering fluid in there, but it could just be that this thing's really dirty. I'm going to try to get the coffee can under there, just in case. Try to get this power steering fluid out, this hose out, without making a big mess. And that's that. Just put this coffee can underneath here if we can. And of course it's not going to stay. Yeah, because it's a good idea, just doesn't work in practice. So before I pull those off by hand, what I'll do is I'll get that under there as close as I can. Okay, so I was able to get the 2 hose clamps off fairly easily. Now what I'm going to do is pull the coffee can over and pull those hoses off. Again, just so I'm just trying not to make a mess. That might be easier said than done. Alright, so this hose isn't coming off very well. What I'm going to do is just grab my pliers and twist a little bit. And I think I kind of broke it loose there. We'll get the bucket under there. Try to get the bucket under there. Pull this hose off. Oh, sweet. That's awesome. And we'll do the same for the other hose. Alright, I got that second hose off without too much spillage. There's a little bit of a mess there. But I am going to take a 5/16 socket Bam. That tank is off. We'll go ahead and put that screw back in there. Set this off to the side for right now. And then the degas tank. And that's done too. Well, the end goal here is to remove all this in front of the motor. I'm also going to be pulling off, not necessarily the entire front clip, but easily the fog lights, the headlights, and the bumper, just so that when I get this thing out I don't bust anything, crash it up, or whatever. So I think my next step would be to go ahead and pull this serpentine belt off and actually pull the power steering pump itself off and attach it to the 5.0 motor. Okay, anyway, that's it for today. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and pull that serpentine belt off. I showed you how to do that on the Coyote motor when it was not in the car. This is a good opportunity for me to show you how to do it when it's in the car. I mean, the only thing we have removed really is the power steering can and the coolant can, the degas tank. Anyway, let's go ahead and take our 1/2-inch ratchet, put it into the little square slot like I showed you on the Coyotes right here. It's nice to have a ratchet with the little locking ball on there so you can get that in there and make sure it stays. And then we're just going to push down on it and relieve the tension. And that's it. Serpentine belt is off. Another handy tip before you pull that serpentine belt off is to actually mark where it goes, the major components, and then how you're going to take it off or how it comes off. And actually this one, you put a little loop through there, attach it around the AC pulley, and then follow this diagram around. Next, we're going to drop the power steering pump to get loose from the tank. Now we're going to remove these 2 bolts. There's a 3rd bolt down there on the bottom, as well as a fitting to the rack. Well, I can't get a wrench on that, so what I'm going to have to do is take this off and then drop it down. I might be able to get a wrench on it by pulling it up, but probably not. So I've removed the lower radiator hose too. We saw enough of the radiator hose removals, so enough hose removals period in the last video or the last segment. So let's go ahead and take this loose. The aggravating part about this, this is 13 mil by the way. The aggravating part about this is would take a deep well socket, and the socket won't fit in between there. So we're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way by wrench. And I keep thinking my fingers are stronger than what they are, so let's just go ahead and do this a couple turns. Let's bust this one loose and do it a couple turns. It's actually fairly loose, which surprises me. You know what we're going to do? I'm going to pause this here for just a minute, and I'm going to go get one of my fancy ratcheting wrenches. Well, ain't this something? I've got one of these Cooley ratcheting wrenches here that you're supposed to be able to just stick her on the nut and ratchet the thing off. But this nut is too close to the power steering housing, so we're back to the manual method. You see it? Yeah. So it looks like it's going to be that way. Ah, here we go. I loosened it enough to where the nut is actually away from the housing a little bit. Well, this is pretty nice. And see, here they are right here. These are long bolts going through. Let me warn you that on the bottom there it should be a 13 mil. Well, it's one of those bolts that have a screw, a nut on it that holds power steering line on there. So that nut is an 11 mil. And like I said, I've taken that off already. Look at this, and now it's gonna. And now it's gonna play hard to get. Which is fine by me. Play hard to get. Okay, now it's going to get a little tough to get on and off there like that. Okay, again, the manual method. My hands are getting slick. It's a little hot out here still. 100 degrees, 101 or so. That's what I saw on the thermometer before I came out on my nifty little weather station. So yeah, I'm getting a little sweaty. And here what I'm doing is I'm lifting this up a little bit. And I was able to take that stud out of there with my hand, but of course it's not gonna cooperate. Oh, here we go. And I'm up on my toes here. I've got this car jacked up a little bit. It's just kind of difficult because I'm not. Here we go. I'm just, like I say, I'm just a little feller. And it's kind of hard to get these things out like that. I'll put these two up here for now. Now let's see if I can't juke that up here to get that. Yeah. See, I just can't see it. I just can't see it. So I guess what I'm gonna have to do, well, hey, I might be able to get to it. Nearest I can, oh no, I can't. That's too bad. I'm gonna have to get down on my creeper again, pull this thing out from the bottom. And since there's no way to get decent video from down there, I'm just gonna let you know that that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drop that whole thing down the bottom, right next to that oil filter, and then take that loose from down there. All right, let me give you a brief rundown of what just went on. I did pull that pump out from the bottom like I said I was gonna. It came right out after I pulled the the bottom heater hose like I said, and then this other hose here dropped right down. I did, however, make a huge frickin' mess. That's a combination antifreeze and power steering fluid. So I got to clean that up before I get back under there, and I got to let it dry before I get back under there. And see, as I'm going out of town, it doesn't look like we're going to be doing a whole lot. I did try to get this 18 millimeter fitting loose. One right there. It's been on there for probably 11, 12 years, 15 years, 17 years. Hell, I don't know. This is a 2007 and it's 2023, 2024. I don't even know what year it is anymore. But anyway, it was corroded on there. So I give her a shot of WD-40. We'll give her another shot tomorrow. Let her set for a week and see if we can't pull that thing out. Anyway, I think today was a success. I got most of the items on my list accomplished. So until next time, we'll be back.